barely made it.
And now, poetry by Gary.
No. I personally do not believe that side order was worth it. But before you guys kill me, that is just my opinion. And it doesn't distract how you feel about the game. So if you enjoyed it, then congratulations! In this video, I'll go through my personal thoughts on side order and why it just didn't do it for me. It honestly is a shame because I was looking forward to it, but honestly, I'd rather just play White People Simulator. Buy this game now. Anyways, first I'm going to talk about the general gameplay of side order, and then I'll talk about the story. And so if you don't want to know anything about the story, then you can escape when we get there. But I haven't read any of the diaries or beaten it with every weapon, so the spoilers are limited to like completing 2 runs of it. Okay, now to talk about the gameplay. It is boring. It just doesn't feel fun to me. Sometimes the missions are like the easiest missions possible, even on rigorous difficulty, and sometimes they throw like a nuke at you out of nowhere. I'm personally doing 1 life runs while only accepting the hardest missions, and I am just not enjoying the core gameplay loop. I've played plenty of roguelikes before, like Crypt of the Necrodancer, Binding of Isaac, and Risk of Rain, and I enjoy the genre, but something just feels off about side order. I enjoy that the devs are trying something wildly different with side order, but it feels like they didn't capture the full essence of the genre. Making it far in a roguelike should be a hard but fair experience as you slowly learn more and get better at the game, but I feel like side order doesn't do an amazing job at this. The risk of a reward curve in side order feels off. Like when I win it doesn't feel satisfying, but when I lose it feels like I was thrown a near impossible challenge. It also just feels like a worse version of Salmon Run in my opinion. Salmon Run has a good risk over reward balance where sometimes you need to do a risky maneuver to escape difficult situations or to just maximize eggs before the timer runs out. But in side order, it just feels like I have to play safely and patiently while avoiding taking any risks possible. There's no sense of urgency unlike Salmon Run because it doesn't have a timer. There's also no penalty for playing safely and taking as much time as I need at all. Another problem I have is the repetition. Yes, I know roguelikes are supposed to be repetitive, but when your roguelike has only 5 mission types and like 6 floor layouts, then the overlap becomes very noticeable. Then there's the mission types themselves. Let's go over each one, okay? So first we have Splat Zones, then we have Tower Control, then we have that one mission that's been in the series since Splatoon 1, then we have 8 Balls, again, and finally, the only original one, which is Destroy the Portals. None of these modes kept me engaged because it's just things we have seen throughout the series already, and the one idea that is new is just generic. So when the game expects you to do 30 floors per run, then you'll see so much overlap, and that doesn't even include having only 3 bosses. My final gameplay gripe is the downtime between levels. In most roguelikes, the transition between levels is near instant, but in side order, it takes almost half a minute of downtime between levels, and it's extremely noticeable when it's almost as long as some of the levels themselves. Then you have to multiply that by 30, and that's how much downtime there is for just 1 run. If you were to calculate this for doing a run for each weapon, then it's about 2 hours of downtime from just going between levels. Normally, I wouldn't care about something like this, but when the game wants you to do run after run after run, then it really adds up to the point that I noticed it. Okay, now that that's over, it's time for story spoilers. So if you don't want to hear it, then okay? So that was the most nothing plot ever. Nothing happened. There was no stakes, 0 repercussions, literally nothing. It was quite literally just a dream. The trailers made you think it was going to be this huge story to save Marina and that she might be the final boss, kind of like how Callie was in Splatoon 2 after she lost to Splatfest. But no. You save her after the tutorial, like 10 minutes into the game. It felt 100% undeserved and honestly ruined it a bit for me. Then you have the true final boss, who is a brand new character being this giant octopus thing that represents order, and he contributes nothing to the overarching story of Splatoon. Now let's compare this to Octo Expansion. In Octo Expansion, there is also a new character as the final boss, being Tartar, but they were being built up throughout the entire game, and when you start to realize that things aren't what they seem, it's like an eye-opening moment. You start to feel for 8 because they were helping somebody that was trying to kill them, and who has killed a good chunk of 8's race before them. So then you have a reason to defeat this enemy, and it all comes together perfectly in this grand spectacle as Fly Octo Fly starts playing in the background. There's stakes on the line, there's a motive, and it all comes together in this great cinematic finish. While in side order, you just fight a harder version of the tutorial fight whose motive is just fearing change, which by the way is the exact same plot as Xenoblade 3, so play that instead. 10 out of 10 game. Mwah! Also, they play Ebb and Flow again for the final boss, which they literally already did in Octo Expansion. It just makes Side Order feel too derivative of what came before it in all aspects apart from gameplay. But even that isn't fully original. Those are pretty much my biggest gripes with Side Order, but it's still a good expansion, and here are some things I thoroughly enjoyed about it. The presentation is amazing. Just look at how you spawn in. Some weapons are a genuine welcome challenge, and I appreciate the devs for trying something new. It had a lot of potential, and that's all the compliments I got. Anyway, I don't want to say it's a bad experience or not worth it for you to play, but simply that it didn't quite hit the mark for me, and that's okay. Anyway, the DLC gave us back Flo. My baby mama's back. Best girl, 10 out of 10 game.